Welcome to Fire, Cook, Eat. Hey everybody, welcome to Fire, Cook, Eat. Today we're going to be discussing Grandma Pizza, and I'm going to replicate it. Now, what is Grandma Pizza? It's a New York style thin crust square cut pizza, typically made with a thin crust, mozzarella cheese, and tomato sauce, often with garlic, oregano, baked in a rectangular pan. Now, Grandma didn't play. She did not let this thing rise. This is the difference between a Sicilian pizza and also Grandma Pizza. Grandma would mix up the dough, pour it right into the pan, stretch it out into the square pan, put the cheese and the sauce on it, into the oven would go, and voila, there it was. Thin, crispy, no nonsense pizza. And I tell you what, it has a really great taste to it. So what I'm going to be using is my all-purpose flour, also some yeast, some sugar, salt, and I'm going to be adding in some salt, pepper, garlic, and onion into the dough itself. Give it a little bit more flavor. And also I'm using fire-roasted tomatoes today. That has a great flavor. You need to try it. So I'm spreading out the dough right now onto the board. I'm going to knead it real quick. It's going to get olive oil, and then I'm going to be putting it into a pan, and I'm going to let this rise just a little bit, all right? I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to start stretching out the pizza. Now, the story of Grandma Pizza starts back in, I guess, 1987, out on Long Island. There was a couple different pizzerias out there. Older gentlemen, they had a couple different stores, and I think today they're still arguing of who come out with it first. Like I said, the difference between this and Sicilian, I'm telling you what, you got to try this. It's very, very good. But the argument goes on about who actually started it first. But it was in the 80s. Now, this was traditional. I can remember my mother-in-law making pizza like this. Her sisters used to make it the same way. Very, very fast. And I'm telling you what, the flavor is fantastic. Now, when it comes to this type of pizzas and stuff like that, I'm old school. I like traditional stuff. Ham and the argument ham or pineapple on a pizza. That's to each his own. Not for me, but I like traditional stuff. This right here was made from the heart. Everyone was done. I like going into a place that has 3 or 4 different types of pizza. If I go into somebody that has 15, 20, 30 different types of toppings, that's not for me. I like old school traditional stuff. Now, back in the day, we would get done work in the restaurant, and a couple of us would get in a car and drive into New York. Either we'd wind up going into a seafood place, a clam bar, or something to that effect, or we would wind up in old school pizzerias, okay? And that's where the food was. That's where you would sit down. I mean, you didn't get no fancy wine glass. You got a regular glass with wine in it. And we would sit there and chew the fat with the owner or whoever was there. So you're talking 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting down and having some of the best, finest pizza that you could find on planet Earth. Unbelievable. Memories I'll never forget. But now, duplicating this, I like to make some focaccia bread and stuff like that. That's great. This right here, you want to please the family? 1, 2, 3. Here it goes, right here. It doesn't get any better. Now, like I said before, I'm using fire-roasted tomatoes. What a different flavor it has. It really brings it out. Making this pizza here, you're going to see that once I get it stretched out, it's done non-traditionally like you would do a regular pizza. Round pizza, put the dough out. You would put the sauce on it, okay, cheese it, whatever toppings, into the oven. This is totally different. You get this stretched out into the pan, and then you add the cheese. A little bit of olive oil, add the cheese to it. Now, today I'm using a block mozzarella cheese and also pecorino romano. All right? What a combination. Some oregano, and also putting the fire-roasted tomatoes on there, and also finishing it with some basil. That's it. No more, no less. And that is the perfect way to have a traditional pizza. Grandma would be very proud. I am not a big fan of non-stick products, okay? Yeah, these pans or anything else like that. But this one in particular, this pan here, I use for certain things when I'm cooking, and just so different items that I cook do not stick. But in this case here, I don't want the pizza to stick at all, but in the same token, I want to be able to put enough olive oil on it so it does get that fried bread texture. And on this pan here, it'll work fine. All right, we're going to be adding on the mozzarella cheese right now. So what we did was we took a regular cheese cutter, and this was from a block of mozzarella cheese, and we scraped it off so it's all even. We're going to put this on. We don't want to overpower it with cheese. All right. The whole idea is everything is to be done evenly. Grandma didn't scrimp or scrape on anything, but everything was pretty well even because she knew that it wasn't being cooked in a pizza oven, but that she was going to be cooking in her traditional oven, and that's a big difference from a commercial oven. So there's the cheeses on there. Now I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to it because I'm going to keep this thing as hydrated as possible. We don't want it to dry out. If you let it dry out, it'll have the tendency to turn into almost like a cracker. That's how thin the crust is. I'm going to be adding in some oregano. Now that's Mexican oregano. That is my preference. It has a better flavor, I think, than traditional oregano, and a lot cheaper. So I'm going to spread that around a little bit, and then we're going to start adding in some pecorino romano. This is my go-to here also, but what a flavor. What a great flavor. So we're going to start spreading that around, and then we'll be adding the sauce. As I add the pecorino romano on it, try this cheese. If you have never tried it, this is fantastic. Now, this is goat's milk that the cheese is made from. And I tell you, it's got a distinct flavor. It's nice and salty. It has a creamy texture. So, now, this is the difference between any other pizza. This is Grandma's specialty right here of how it is sauced. Now, like I said, I used fire-roasted tomatoes. And I add some other garlic and some of my essence that I like to put into it. And it's done on an angle. It can be done dollops in the squares, cheese on top of that and everything. But this is traditionally how it's done. This is, you can tell the difference between this and the Sicilian. All right. Like I said, the Sicilian pizza is raised, light, fluffy, a lot of air in it if it's done correctly. This is super thin, and I tell you what, this was my go-to for years. We would go in. I would go into one place in particular, and I would ask, "Is Grandma here?" And the guy would look at me and say, "Yeah, she's in the back." All right, and then he would go in the back and get me a couple slices. I wouldn't just get one. I could probably eat that whole pie right there. So yeah, this is fantastic. Now to each corner, I'm going to be squirting some olive oil into each corner. That's so they don't dry out and they're a little bit more moist and not like a cracker, like I keep saying. Because this is, like I said, this is very, very thin. So as I get this taken care of into the oven, 475 degrees, and then we're going to have a little treat made for my wife and myself. A nice California navel orange and some Genoa salami and some sharp provolone. We'll chew on that and wait for our pizza to be finished. Nice glass of wine. Enjoy. You gotta enjoy life. Leftover dough I had made into a little bit thicker, a little bit of pizza. I was just gonna make bread with it, but I decided to make a little pizza with it. Pecorino Romano I had left over. This is fantastic. You got to try it. Some oregano, some Tommy spice, which is salt, pepper, garlic, and onion. Put on there to go along with the orange and the salami and the provolone. Well, Grandma has arrived. Look at it. It looks delicious. Now I'm going to be breaking up some fresh basil on it. I'm going to be adding in some more olive oil on it just to keep it nice and moist. Reminds me of a story. We call this pizza pie back east. When I moved down into North Carolina, I called the pizzeria, and I said, I'd like to order 2 pies. And it was a dead silence, and the lady at the other end said, Sir, we don't sell pie. We sell pizza. I said, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. That's just how, moving from state to state in different areas, what it's called. This is fantastic. I'm calling this one fantastic. Need to give it a try. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in, and if you made it this far, to this new channel, Fire, Cook, Eat. Basic, simple, taking restaurant quality food, making it at home. I'm going to be looking throughout the internet for some stuff that I used to do years ago and remake it at home. Make it nice and easy. I'll give you a little history behind of what it all is. And this is going to be fun for me. I hope you're going to enjoy it. So please, if you wouldn't mind, hit that like and subscribe button. I think I got 6 subscribers on it as of right now. It was a different channel that I had, and I just changed things up. So if you would, please be kind enough to like and subscribe. And look forward to at least once a month, I'm going to be putting up some of these videos with a little bit of history behind it and making it, replicating it at home. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Stay safe. Well, here's to Grandma. Great pizza, great idea. Stop back next time on Fire, Cook, Eat. Mangiare.